Hello! I think we're live and hopefully you can see all of me. I've tried to move the camera in a little bit closer today. I'm sure one day I'll work out how to do this whole live thing a little bit better. We're cooking from our new ebook, Chicken Dinners. Yes, this is in a print copy, but that's because I printed mine out. You're welcome to do the same with yours. It makes life a lot easier, that you can actually open up your recipes, lay them flat and put them on your kitchen bench or use your devices. Today we're going to be doing the chicken katsu, and I will be doing it with a couple of different crumbs for you. I'll be cooking it in the air fryer just for ease while we're live. I'm going to cook the sauce in the Thermomix because if anything, it's harder to cook it in a thermal cooker or in a pot than on an open gas flame, particularly because you can simmer things down easier on the stove than you can in a very small base. And I have a surprise. It's not really a surprise, but it's a little test. And I thought, well, we're going to have a little bit of quieter time between a couple of things cooking. I just bought out some of my 3-ingredient shortbread. It's a chocolate one. I didn't really like it. I didn't sweeten it extra, and it was just with some cocoa that I made a while ago when I was doing a test. But I've got the testers at the moment testing a cute little idea for a cookie cup with ice cream and a chocolate magic shell. So if I've got time and it defrosts, I will test it, but I'm going to test it. I've got some already cut into my little crown muffin tin. I love these crown muffin tins by USA Pans, not sponsored, but just love them. I've cut a thick, I'd say just a slightly, say 1.25 centimeters, say half an inch size thickness. And I'm just leaving them in there to defrost because that's out of my freezer. If you haven't already made my cookies, I always say just keep a log in the freezer so when you want cookies you can cut them and cook however many you want. So I'll press these in and see how they go. They mightn't even want to come out of the tins. They do have to cool for about an hour or so to pop out. But we will try and take one out if I get around to it and see how it goes, to try and scoop some of my ice cream in there and put a little chocolate shell on the top as well, just while we're cooking the other things. But anyway, I'll show you how to deal with if things don't come out and how to still make it look pretty. Okay, so I'm just going to check and see that we're all on. Open this up. We will just get rid of that. It's always confusing. I don't know why that comes up. Alrighty, so I can see people are tuning in. All good. So instead of what I usually do when I'm doing a live, I get everything completely ready. So it's just bam, bam, bam. I've just popped some of the ingredients here so we can have a little chat about some of them and that as well. I've got my chicken here. I only just pulled it out of the packaging because I only just bought it this afternoon. 2 of them are totally different sizes, so we're going to trim that down as well. I'll just move these out of the way. And we'll get going right now. So as I said, this is from our Chicken Dinners ebook. Who's got it? Who's on the fence? If you are and you've got any questions about it, you can ask while we're on here. Dave is watching the thread and that as well while we're live, so he can answer some of the questions and that as well too. So this is what we're cooking. So basically it's a crumb chicken. The katsu sauce is like a curry sauce. I'm making it with my Malaysian curry powder, but you can use any curry powder that you've got in the cupboard. My Malaysian curry powder is a Bubba's curry, so you can actually make your own at home with your own spices. It's so easy to make. Or you could even use any curry paste. It's like quite easy to make this sauce. But let's get this chicken crumbed into the air fryer because it's going to take about 20 minutes. So I'm going to probably trim them down so we get a half decent schnitzel cooked in the time that we're on live. So I'm just cutting off the tenderloin at the moment. I'll just move this one out of the way. And I might just trim that bit off there. Normally I would trim these down. If you can even see in the picture, it's still quite a big thick fillet. Not quite as big as that one. We're using roughly around about 500 grams. For this, I have said that it serves 4. So when you're doing these in the schnitzels or the chicken breasts, you can cut that down or get the smaller breasts, roughly around about 200 grams each or so. Okay, so I'm just going to trim these down to look the same, and I'll put that chicken away in a minute. So we've got our 2 breasts, roughly the same. When I would do this normally, I would test, just going to wash my hands, sorry. I would test the, did I have a towel out? Test the chicken temperature, the internal temperature with a meter. So I have one of those probes that go inside the chicken, and you can tell when it gets to a safe temperature, which is 75 degrees C. But I use the phone, which we're using right now, to gauge that. So I'm not going to do that today, but that is how I would test the temperature. A lot of the new gadgets that are coming out today, I've also got a Ninja XL grill over there. They've actually got the probes inbuilt, so you can actually pop them in there. I've been using that just for the first few times lately. Amazing little appliance to have if you've got the room. I've got a whole other bench outside of the kitchen that you can't see. Plus I've got a, I'm just going to grab some of the eggshell back. The little tip of, you know, getting your eggshells out with eggshell. If you didn't know that one works. Like, unless you're like me normally and just chase it around with your finger. So we've just got some eggs here. Just going to give them a quick whisk. So for this one, I have already milled some pork rinds. Now, if you eat pork, but you don't like pork rinds, I don't either anymore. I used to like them, but following keto lifestyle for 5 years, honestly, even the smell of it really repulses me now. So I tentatively tested this and I absolutely loved it on the chicken. I don't taste pork, so if you're concerned about it, don't worry about it. Now with this chicken, I would pat dry, but this chicken is actually not very wet, but you know how sometimes you get them and they're still in their juices? I would pat it dry before I pop it into the egg wash, and then I'm going to pop it into the crumb, and I'm going to really press that crumb in. So I'm just flicking it over. See how I try and use 2 different hands to do this? I'm just going to pull this over here where I can reach it a little bit better. Now, hopefully the sound is all good. I've got the camera right. I've got the microphone right at my mouth now. And okay, so yeah, these crumbs, by the way, I probably over milled them. I was sort of in the other room and I just flicked the dial on. But you know, you can crush this with a rolling pin. You know, put the old way that we used to do the lemon condensed milk slices with the biscuits and your milk arrowroot or whatever, and you put it in the bag and you bash it with the rolling pin. A great thing to do. It's a little bit of therapy if you need it, is crushing pork rinds. Now I was going to do this 2 different ways, so what I'll do, just another quick rinse. Sorry, working with chicken's a bit of a bugger when you're on live. I'm just going to keep this towel for my chicken hands. Normally I'd have a roll of paper towel, but right now I honestly don't know where it is. So I'm just going to move these ones out just for the time being. And then I have to go into my fridge because I really wasn't ready. And there was one other ingredient. So crumbing with keto is something that a lot of people question, you know, what can I use? So I tend to use, the pork rinds are obviously a good one. That's an easy one. You can make your own pork rinds. You can buy them, but a lot of the ones you buy do have a lot of rubbish in them and that as well. Flax meal, so I have the golden linseeds or golden flax seeds. You can buy these in, well, the flax meal or the flax seeds are in some supermarkets. Mostly I find them in Coles. I'm not sure about Woolies. I'd have to have a look and see if Woolies have updated and finally got it in. These ones, it's the Lotus brand. I got these from Elite Health Supplements, which is just up the road from me, but we have links on our Facebook group and that as well too, to their online store, so you can order that online. I like it. It's sort of got a nuttiness, but it's nut-free. So, of course, another crumbing that you can use is almond meal, which a lot of people use. I would steer away from coconut or coconut flour for certain things, unless you want the coconut flavour to penetrate. So, coconut crumbs, I would use desiccated coconut, say for something like prawns. But, yeah, I like this mixture of flax seeds and parmesan. And I can tell you it actually works really well in the air fryer and that as well. So I'm just adding in just say equal amount. I probably shouldn't have done all of that amount anyway because I'm not going to crumb that amount of chicken. And we'll get this other chicken away as well as soon as we get it into the air fryer. So just a quick mix. Now in this you could add any seasoning. So if I was just going to do a chicken schnitzel or a palmy or something like that, I would add like my Italian seasoning substitute, the KFC seasoning that's in the ebook and that as well, in the Chicken Dinners ebook. The smoker chicken rub that we did for the pork ribs, which is amazing. I even bought, you wouldn't believe it, I bought more pork. I'm like really hooked on those country style ribs. I don't know why, but I am. So it's before the recipe was even published. I've probably made them 4 times and I've made it a few times since. So that's a rarity for me. So again, just pressing in the crumb and you'll be able to see shortly that there is hardly any difference in looks between these two. The Parmesan, of course, adds a saltiness to the chicken and the flax meal adds a nuttiness. Now, here we are, side by side. Great test to do while we're live to see which one looks the best when it's done. Now, again, I'll wait till after I've done that. So we're going to cook these at 180 and they do take roughly around about 20 minutes. So we'll put it on 180 and I'm going to put it on for about, let's just say 13 minutes on the first side, and then I will turn it over if it's crispy already. So I tend not to, you know, move anything that's crumbed with keto or battered if it's in a shallow fry, by the way, until I know that it's actually like sealed and crispy, just like cooking a steak or chicken or anything. Like, you know, you're cooking it till it's nice and golden on one side before doing anything else. Now I'm just gonna, excuse me, I'm just putting my chicken away so I don't want that sitting out here the whole time. So what could I do with these leftover crumbs? I can put them into a Ziploc bag or a vacuum seal bag and I can freeze them for later and that as well too. I could use them for a filler. So either of these would go great in, say, let's just the chicken sausage, garlic chicken sausage rolls that are in the book. You could add this through. The Parmesan would go amazing through that garlic chicken as well. You could even add some little chunks of cheese in that as well to make it nice and cheese and gooey inside. Sort of like the Indian pakoras, you know, when you get the chicken Indian pakoras. I mean, I know they're usually vegetarian, but they've got the garlic chicken ones and you get that little burst of garlic butter, or you could have like a little burst of garlic cheese. So I'm going to move that out of the way so we don't get chicken on anything. Okay. And I will deal with these ones later. The eggs, same sort of thing, so we could freeze that and use that in anything. It could again go into the chicken, or it could be used in a pastry because it's going to be cooked anyway. So even if it's got a little bit of chicken-ness in it, it will still be safe. So let's have a look and see if I've got any questions. Costco have golden flax seeds. We have got a Costco nearby, not close. I think it would probably take me half an hour to drive there. And I haven't gone yet. It opened when we were in lockdown, I think the last lockdown, and you're only supposed to go out if, you know, one person went out, blah, blah. So I haven't gone out yet to check it out, but when one of my friends said that they got 2 kilos of halloumi for $2.47 or something like that just the other day, I'm like, I want that deal. That would be halloumi chips cheap, hey? Okay, so I'm just having a quick look and seeing if there's any comments, any questions. Love your t-shirt. Yes, if you didn't notice, it's Mad Creations. Got my coffee, got it, made Marry Me Chicken today. Yeah, the Marry Me Chicken is a favourite. It is one of the ones that's on the website, but we put it in the book. We put a couple of the big recipes, that and the butter chicken. The butter chicken is actually my version, I think, from a book. But we put in just a couple of the recipes that were really amazing, and they have pretty much, those two have stayed untouched. Other recipes, there is a recipe for teriyaki chicken that is on the website, but we've changed that as well, and the Tuscan chicken. But other than that, the recipes are new. So nice and exciting, this katsu. I haven't done anything before, so it's a nice new recipe. And if you look up katsu curries and stuff, you'll see that this is quite different than most katsus as well in the katsu sauce. But it makes a really lovely sauce. And again, this is a sauce that can be used with different proteins, different vegetables, your meat substitutes like seitan and tofu. So let's get this katsu sauce on. Oh, hang on, let's have a look at these cookies. You might get them on. Now that whisk was just for the eggs, so I can move that over to there. Okay, so our cookie dough is starting to soften. So I've got this new little gadget. I'm going to have a go at one. You put these in like the molds and then it presses it out. So I'm going to just see if it works. Yeah, it does actually. You won't be able to see that, but you'll be able to see them when I photograph them later. I won't photograph them tonight because it'll be too dark. Because isn't the weather I find really depressing. Like, for those of you who say that you hate daylight savings, how could you hate daylight savings? I mean, how can you hate it when it's this time of year anyway? Because I know it's not daylight savings that makes it lighter. But, okay, some of these are still really frozen, so I'm going to push really hard. So yeah, my concern with these, like I said, this is a test live, nothing like testing something live, is that they won't come out of this pan. My tip with this sort of thing is always that you can do a few things. Depending on the size of your freezer, you could freeze it and then pop them out. That would work. I don't think this size tray would fit in any of my freezers, and I have 3 of them. So it's not going to work for me, but it's about baking and giving them time to set. Now, the thing is with keto cookies, now if you're looking for this recipe for this cookie base too, it's on the website. It's the almond flour cookies, or in the cookie book, you'll find one for just the basic shortbread style cookie. So what I'm doing is I'm pressing them down and they're making a little cup shape. And then what I'm doing is I'm actually making the sides flat, so they're not too crude in shape. Now, I know a lot of you always say, oh, mine's not as pretty as yours. Now, I obviously am doing things to take photos of, so I do make a little bit of effort, but I really want everybody to know you only have to look at my hair. I'm not like a carefully coiffed, perfect person. So, you know, it's not like you have to be a good cook or someone who, you know, makes macarons on the regular or something like that, you know, pastry cook. Anyone can cook my recipes. And to make them pretty, sometimes it just takes a little bit of practice, that's all. But I can assure you, you see some of the meals Dave pops up sometimes of just what he's eating, if it's not one that I've just photographed. And you'll see, like, you know, it just looks like ordinary food. It just tastes nice. Because to me, the main thing is always that food tastes incredible. I've learnt to take some pretty pictures over the years, but I'm in a photography group and they always laugh at me when I say I'm not a food photographer. Yeah, I take photos of food. I would not say I'm professional in that regard, but I just want everybody to know that it's not just about pretty pictures, it's actually about great food. Okay, so I've got the cookies in there. God only knows how they're going to turn out. If they turn out crap, I'll show you how to make something good with them anyway. But I will at least try and pull one out at some time while we're live tonight. If it crumbles, I'll show you what to do with it. But the beauty of these is they do only take, I'll do that for 7 minutes first. And I shouldn't have actually pressed them out like that, because what's going to happen, now that I think about it, so I was just doing stuff and chatting and not thinking about it, is that's all going to drop, right? So then what's going to happen is when it's done at 7 minutes, I'm going to press it again to make it go up. So I should have actually let it, because as we know, when cookies are soft, they'll bubble up and they'll rise a little bit. And then what the idea is you can pull it out and you can actually press it down. So I'm going to be testing this. I just want it as like a little cup that you can put ice cream in. I thought it would be really cool. The girls and boys in our testing team have been testing it with ice cream, and I think there was one with custard the other day, or lemon curd. They all looked amazing. I just write the recipes and say, hey, try this, like this. Because I mean, realistically, it is just my old recipe, just made a different way. Anyway, so let's get onto the curry. I'll just have a quick look at the questions first, then we'll get onto the curry sauce. and that'll be ready to turn over as soon as I get the curry sauce on. How many recipes in the book are already available in other books or on the website? Okay, so Kristen, in the book, let me just have a quick look at the index. I've got clean hands. I might just flick that open though and put it on the plastic just in case there's any water on the kitchen bench. So let's go through it. So chicken and cashew is new. Butter chicken is, I think it's a recipe I actually took from Slow Cook Keto, but then I changed it into a slightly different one. Baby corn soup is in another one. The garlic chicken sausage rolls, new. Mushroom risotto, new. Pad thai, new. Sticky sesame wings, new. Katsu curry, new. Marry Me chicken's on the website. Penang curry is new, even though there's one on the website. It's a new one. The lemon chicken is a completely revised one from the Healthy Family Keto. It's different completely. Chicken nachos is new. Country leek pie is new. The popcorn chicken tenders is new. The laksa is new. The fried rice new. Spinach and strawberry salad new. Satay chicken new. Chicken chop suey new. When I'm saying new, I just mean it's brand new. Creamy Parmesan Boschiella new. Chicken teriyaki is a revised version of one that's on the website, but again, different. Tuscan chicken lasagna, a revision. Chicken corn chips, completely new. Pastry dough, it's just the basics, is not new. It's fathead. And then there's a laksa paste and KFC seasoning. So that is it. So yeah, it's a pretty easy book. But the majority of everything is pretty new in there, pretty amazing. And I've reflected when I price our products, I price it according to what is new. So there is 30 plus recipes in there, 20 plus chicken. I think there's 23 or 24 chicken recipes. And like I just went through, nearly 18 of them are brand new. So let's get into this curry sauce. Have a quick look. I just bought this. We were in the Caribbean. I keep saying getting into the curry sauce, and then I'm reading questions. I'm definitely thinking about this one. We love chicken. This katsu. Yeah, look, honestly, they're all recipes that mostly people would like. So there's a token salad in there, but it's not a token salad in the way that it is boring. It's really lovely. We did one chicken wings because there's so many different ways to cook chicken wings, but it's a chicken wing recipe that you can use the katsu sauce for, say for instance, or the satay sauce. You can turn those into any of those using the sauces. We've also got the new meal prep at the back with the sauce recipes in how you can actually create those and put them in the freezer. Even looking in my freezer, if I grab something, you can see I've got cubes in here of different things. So it just makes it easy that you can quickly throw together an individual serve of something as well. But yeah, so if you like chicken, you'll like this book. I just put in a new email today, and one of the reviews was that it was the first book that they've actually wanted to make every single thing out of the book. So that's always a good line to hear. I got my coffee purchase pretty much today. I love daylight savings, yeah. Oh God, do I love daylight savings. The second coating is the same as the posh fish fingers, which I'm doing tomorrow. Yeah, so that's not in the book. I didn't put this one. I might have said that you can do it that way. Mind you, I'm looking at, I've put in here some dietary swaps options. So you've got dietary swap options. Chicken breast could be swapped for chicken thighs or pork fillets, or grilled sweet potato pumpkin for a vegetarian alternative. Pork rinds for 1 cup of grated parmesan and 1 cup of almond flour or flax meal. The xanthan gum that's going into the sauce can be swapped for glucosamine or a tablespoon of arrowroot flour. I have included arrowroot flour as an option in some of the recipes, as you'll see. There is other options because I know a lot of us, including me, I haven't used arrowroot in any of my recipes, if you hadn't noticed. But I put it in there because it's an easy recipe to get in the supermarket. While the carbs are a little bit high, the amount that's used in any of the recipes is very low. It's usually only a tablespoon that I'm using in the entire recipe for 4 to 6 people. But it's a resistant starch. So those carbs really should pass through being undigested. So I'm not pushing any carbs up. The max carbs I think in the entire book is around about 8 grams of net carbs. So it's still very keto, and they're highly protein based in that as well too. So you'll see some recipes are insanely high in protein and half the fat ratio to protein, if you get what I'm saying. tongs. I had some out. Always good when you hide something. It's probably underneath this board. Yep, and then underneath this plate. I just wanted to quickly show you. So you can see like this looks perfect. Let's come over here. It's not cooked, but it looks absolutely perfect. Now you could do this in the oven. In the oven, I would just turn the temperature up, and I would definitely be a preheated oven. Perfect. So they barely look any different at all. I'm still just going to leave them on that temperature, and I'm going to turn it on for another 4 minutes before I flip them over. And my cookies are still going. I'm just going to turn them on for a few more minutes too. Okay, we'll get to the curry, then we'll get to questions because I'm going to have dead time while everything's cooking anyway. So, katsu sauce. What do we got to put in here? Just going to move my pretty book. Yes, you can print them. I printed mine at Officeworks. But while I was there today, because I had to go back and get something else, you can buy like really nice paper. And that is the difference. If you want to print them at home, buy some good quality paper. Honestly, I bought like 100 GSM, which is what this one is printed. Just quickly show you. So if you can see, it's like nice and shimmery, and it's really nice quality to touch. I bought the 100 GSM. I think the 500 roll was like around about $8 or something, so it wasn't really expensive. So I've got some olive oil. I'm not giving away the recipe. Ooh, I need a chopping board. Not giving away the recipes for it because it is one of the new things you can follow, and you can have a guess if you don't have the book. But it's not really fair to everyone that pays for the book that I give away the recipes. So we'll go with that. And I'll just grab another knife. So one thing you'll notice too, just a little safety thing. You'll see I have a little mat. I always have an anti-skid mat underneath my chopping blocks, so they are not going to ski around on my kitchen bench. Now it's really funny because I'm actually using a Shin knife, a Michael Bra's one actually, really fancy knife, but it really does need to be sharpened. So we're using a whole onion in this sauce. I have calculated the nutritional with this whole amount of sauce in the recipe. So just for those of you who haven't got the book yet, this whole recipe, even though I've only got the 2 chicken breasts there would be 4 cooked, is 348 calories, 5 net carbs, 41 grams of protein and 17 grams of fat. So that's even with the pork rinds in the recipe calculated going into that air fryer, because I'm not using any oil for frying, which is an option. So you can fry it if you wish. So Fermi users, they would just chuck all theirs in like this and chop it, which is what we're going to do. I hope I say that. Yeah, I do. Those of you who know me know I use the pre-done ones of garlic and ginger and the lemongrass from Gourmet Garden, which is just in the fruit and veg section at the supermarket. There's nothing else in them, just the real thing. So I love them. We have some curry powder. So as I said earlier, you can use any kind of curry powder you like. So if you've just got your Keen's curry powder and you want to use that, you love that flavour, use it, okay? I have put a link in the book, which is to our Malaysian curry powder that's on the website. The Malaysian curry powder is a homemade Bubba's meat curry powder. It will cost you so much less. It is so easy to make, and you've probably got all the spices in your pantry already. And this is a great way of using up a lot of those spices. And I've also got some garam masala, so a nice little bit of spice. If you like things less curry or spicier, you can add in all the extra stuff that you like, okay? So we've got some water. Now this would be stock, okay? Because I'm using water, and I'm using some Urban Forager chicken stock. It's just my preferred brand, but you can use your homemade chicken stocks, chicken broths. So that's slightly under 1 cup. This is 1 teaspoon for 1 cup. I'm doing 2 teaspoons because I always do what they ask and 1 for the chef, but today we'll just do 1/4 teaspoon. That'll be fine because there's a lot of spice in this. Great stock paste. Okay, we'll just flip that over. So I can even see that the crumbing on this is starting to bubble in the way that it's like popped, and the other side is sealed and cooked really well. I know you can't see it, but I just want to explain how it looks. All right, these cookies are ready to come out. So if I was making these from scratch, ooh, that works so well. I don't know if you can see it. Let me see if I can get it. I don't want to put it on the board. Let's see if I can get it here. When I press that in, it just makes this perfect little spot that, you know, if you were doing this for pastry, which I think it's for, you know, your little spot for your egg to go into or filling. But now I've got this beautiful filling in there. I'm going to pop it back in the oven for another couple of minutes. These are going to be a little bit darker than my normal shortbread because they've got the cacao powder in it. So I'll just give that 2 more minutes. Now the thing is with this cookie dough that I use, it is soft. It's soft until it cools, okay? So when you take it out of the oven, you can still push your finger through it, but when you leave it for an hour, it turns into a crisp cookie, okay? I think we've even got some in here. So this is a really old cookie though, but see, it's cookie. It's not soft. Just in case you haven't tried those ones. This is just a bonus cookie thing today. Anyway, back to the curry. So we've got our stock in there. We're now going to put in 1/4 cup of coconut aminos or gluten-free soy sauce. These coconut aminos are pretty much available in most of the gluten-free aisles of Coles and Woolies supermarkets. If you're overseas, you might have to have a look at your local to see what they stock. But you can use gluten-free tamari or soy if you do use soy products. I've got some rice wine vinegar. If you don't use rice wine vinegar, you can use apple cider vinegar, white vinegar. And then I'm going to add in 1/4 teaspoon of xanthan gum. So the xanthan gum can be replaced with I would say 1/2 tablespoon of arrowroot. It will just take longer and it won't thicken up as much. Or 1/4 to 1/2 teaspoon of glucomannan powder, which is a better product than xanthan gum, but it's just not as readily available in Australia. So I've got everything in there now. God, tell me that I'm supposed to have everything in there. Yes, I am, and I'm going to mix that when my thingo pops up. That's unusual. Hello. Okay, I'll just get that out. Okay, cookies are coming out. I want to get a new kitchen. If anyone knows any good local kitchen companies to build us a whole new kitchen, you can pop that in a tag down in the thread. Oh, like look at how tiny this kitchen is for somebody like me, and it doesn't even have like a real butler's pantry. There's a laundry over there and a toilet over there, and I want to just build it all that way, but I can't open up the oven door and that door at the same time because they bash into one another. Well, you can have them open at the same time, but you've got to have it wide open if you get my drift. I can't open it while one's open. Anyway, back to the sauce. I've got it all in there. We're going to cook it. We're going to mix it first. No. Sorry. I'm going to put that on for 20 seconds. Yeah? Speed 4. And that will just mix it up a bit. Chop up that onion at the same time. That's why it was a little bit juggly at first, jumpy around. You can finely chop if you want. And if you're doing this on the stove, just finely slice the onion and cook the sauce, and then you can puree it. Or you can do it before. You can put it all in the blender before you put it in the stovetop too. I could have put that in the book, but most people tend to do it afterwards. So you can see it's just like a very liquidy looking stock for now. And now we're going to just put that on for 16 minutes. Whoop, doop, doop, doop. 120? 120. 42. Alrighty, so that is on, and I can give that another mix when it's done, okay? So we have now got our chicken almost done. We've got our sauce on, and we've even done some cookies. Gonna see what these look like. Hopefully, fingers crossed, they'll cool down by the time this is done and I can at least show you one cute little cookie cup. I hope you like the idea anyway. But let's have a quick look. I'll see if there's any questions. If you've got any more questions about the Chicken Dinners ebook, it's available in our shop now. I've got a link in the post above and you'll find it in there. But yeah, it's the newest ebook that we've got out. And as I've said, you can print them out. It's a great little spiral bound one that I've got there. I've done a lot of the books in that way. Oh, and one bit of exciting news is today in Sweden, so then we can officially say it. Let's sneak this one out. Keto Loco has been awarded a World Gourmand Cookbook Award. So I can now say I'm an award-winning author. But yeah, it's official today. Well, official if it's been announced now, but it's like today in Sweden. But yeah, that's pretty cool news anyway. It was a book that everybody did love. If you've looked on the website, if you haven't got it and seen the reviews, you'll see a lot of people did love it, and it was really nice for it to be recognised in the World Cookbook Awards. So let's have a little look. Questions. I'll just bring this over here so I can talk to you guys anyway. I hate winter. Me too. Okay, I always put mine in a display book. Yeah, so I also bought, because a lot of people do ask us about ebooks, how's best to store them. So let's start with digital first. When you get the ebook, you must save it, okay? So if you save it to your bookmarks bar, every time you open the ebook, you're downloading it again, and you do have a limited number of downloads. But what you need to do is save it to your device. Once it's saved to your device, it'll never expire, okay? So when you save it to iBooks, Dropbox, Google Docs, your downloads folder if you're using like a laptop or PC. So as soon as you download it, it'll be saved onto your downloads folder, and it's saved as the book title. I'm pretty sure, unless you've got some of my earlier titles, there might be some weird names of the file, but they'll be saved as, like, when you go to look at this one, it'll be Chicken Dinners ebook. So you can save that way. When you save in iBooks and things like that, I should have an iPad here, you can actually look up your entire library of all of your ebooks that you've ever purchased from anywhere and search through them. Like, you could do it while you're in bed at night. Like, oh, what am I going to make this week? Or you want to do a meal plan and stuff like that, you can pull it up on your PC and have your iPad there and create a meal plan beside you. So digital is perfect. If you've got Apple devices and that, like myself, I actually load mine into my iBooks and then I share it to my cloud. So I only have to do it, let's say I would normally do it on my PC because you can now do it on your PC, but I used to do it on my iPad, and then I would load it to the cloud. So when it's shared to the cloud, I can access it from my phone. So if I was in at Woolies and I'm like, oh crap, Megan, you're making the Katsu chicken, what's in the sauce? Do you have all the ingredients? I can pull up the entire recipe for it and see it while I'm in the supermarket, okay? But I don't need to download it onto every device. So it's on my cloud and it's accessible anywhere I am. So I could be overseas and I can still use the recipes because they're that way. The other way to do it, of course, is to save it to a stick or to your folder as a PDF, because it is a PDF. I shouldn't say you save it as a PDF. It's a PDF. You can copy that onto a stick, take it to your local Officeworks and print it if you wish. Or you could print it at home and then get it bound. So I would say, without doing a temperature test, that this chicken is now cooked, okay? And to be quite fair, I cannot tell the difference between either. But I think on playback, we'd notice that I think this is pretty much the finer crumb. This one is the pork rinds, and this is the parmesan and flax meal. As for flavour, we'll know when we go to eat it. But they look just the same, and I'm looking now. I can see what you guys can see, but yeah, they pretty much look the same. So that worked out perfect. I've done it in the air fryer. You can do this in the oven. So there is a conventional method there. It tells you the oven temperatures and that as well, does it? Yes. Giving you the temperature oven. Also, if you like to fry, you can fry as well. Always just make sure your oil is hot. And what I do when I fry, because we're not using, we're not using the flour and that to do the typical egg wash, I tend to fry, like if you've ever made my fish cakes recipe, which is one of my best recipes ever. You'll notice I fry it, then I bake it that little bit extra. And that's the way to get a really perfect crumb without overcooking it, because I want to photograph it and I want it to look amazing when I go to photograph it. And this is what I've done, and it's now become part of the way I cook, and I absolutely prefer to cook it that way, because then I'm not drying things out or risking burning. And as we know, you could fry something in oil and you can burn it like within a second and it's still raw in the center. So yeah, great little way. Just don't do it with calamari or squid. So yeah, that's turned out lovely. So air fryers, there's so many different models. I've had the Aldi one for any of you who are wondering, you know, if it's worth the money in that. Get an Aldi one, they're nice and cheap. I've spent more money because I was definitely interested in, just checking to see that I didn't have to take that lid off. I didn't. I just got on because I was interested in creating more recipes. I thought air fryers was going to be passing phase and I really wasn't that interested. But since testing some of the recipes in there, I do prefer it. And like I said, I've been eating these pork ribs on recycle, that's what you call it. And I keep cooking them in the air fryer every single time. The air fryer actually usually is on this bench as well, so I like to have a few things on this kitchen bench. So yeah, that's great. So yeah, you can print. So when you print, like I said, I've had all of mine. This is the first one I've actually had printed by Officeworks. It will have a border around the outside, but they did not cut anything off. So even where I have the copyright claim on the bottom, and in nutritional, it goes all the way to the bottom. But you can see, yeah, there is a white border. That's not how I've created the file. That is just the way they print. If you print it yourself, you can fit to page, and it will actually print the picture all the way to the edge of the page. The textures all come out really clear. I'm using a piece of paper here on the other one, and easy to read as well. So, and I worked a lot on the structure of all of our recipes, as you know, so that when you're working it on a device, you can see the ingredients on one side and your methods on the other. In most recipes, you'll see that all in one screen without scrolling. You may only have to scroll to see the nutritional or the notes, depending on how many notes are on the recipe. And we've kept nice spacing between each of the points too, so that you can easily stay, ahead and know what you're doing with a recipe. Because if you're like me, I struggle with reading. I obviously wear glasses and I wear them all the time. But I'm one of those people, like I'll be doing like 20 things at once, so I need to know, I can't read a whole, paragraph, a huge paragraph of text to find where I'm up to in a recipe. So we've broken it down into easy points and numbers. So even if you were leaving, I would normally, when I do things these days, I have a notepad in my kitchen and I write down the numbers beside me. So that makes it nice and easy. Do you need to spray them with oil if you cook them in the air fryer? No. As you saw, I just did it straight in and they came out like this. You can, it will make it a little bit more golden. Some things I have in the past, but you don't have to. So no. Probably with the Parmesan one, because it's a drier mixture, it would have come up more golden, because as you can see, like the pork rinds have got the fat inbuilt. So it is up to you. There is the egg in there, so just going to make sure those books aren't too close to that. Alrighty. Okay, so any other questions? I'm not sure whether on repeat. Oh yeah, on repeat for the pork ribs. They're so good. I am testing the ones tomorrow. Although we've got steak for tomorrow, but I'll cook these because I like them cold. I actually bought a pork shoulder roast because I couldn't get it like a Scotch. Now, Scotch is at the neck or shoulder anyway, so it's actually got the fat on the top. I think it's even here, so I can probably show you. Where is it? So from your butchers, you can get big ones, and I normally order my meat online to come to me from a butcher, but I just wanted to get some for tomorrow, and they don't deliver on Sundays anyway. So I just went up to my local Coles. This one's $8 a kilo. So if you buy the steaks from Coles, they were like pork Scotch steak, so the pork neck steak or shoulder steak, which is from the same cut of meat, by the way. It's $20 a kilo. So this one was $8 a kilo. So great budget cutting. By the way, all the recipes in this book is pretty budget. So I got this whole slab of meat for $16. Now we know if we buy pork ribs, you'd probably be paying, for this amount of weight, probably close to $50. I guess they're not like cheap. But you know what I mean? For the meat I'm talking about, not the weight of the bone as well. So this is all pure meat. But what I'll do is I'll cut off the fat and just cut that into the rib shapes and that as well too. You can use pork for a lot of these recipes as a replacement as well if you like your pork. I like the other white meat for sure. My copy of chicken dinners won't save to my iBooks. Then Karen, read the FAQs because it actually has a step-by-step and it will save to your iBooks. Yours is not different than mine and mine's saved on my iBooks. But anytime it goes into your iBooks, what you need to do is you need to make sure that your device has open PDF reader because it's a PDF. It's not a EPUB file, etc. So you just need to go into your settings, but there's a whole step-by-step in our FAQs for all of our ebooks. And there's a link in every order that you ever make that says to save, read the FAQs, and there's a section for iBooks. So yeah, and it's the same one for everyone. So it has right from the beginning of like how to go back and actually change that in your settings because it'll only be the settings on your phone. Okay, I'm not sure what that question was. The second coating of posh fish fingers. Susan, I don't know if you're still on there, but how good are the posh fish fingers? They were written for Aussie icons, I think in late 2018, published in 2019 maybe. So many good recipes in there, but that is actually where my fish cakes originated from too. So I did those. I wanted to do, like I called them posh fish fingers. I wanted to do something that was fancy, but not like, you know, box fish fingers, because I never liked those. I grew up only eating seafood as my only protein. Well, not my only protein, but I didn't eat any other meat, just fish. I was pescatarian. I don't think there was that name around back then. I think we've gone through that, but anyway. Wondering if the recipe's in the compilation. No, so I think that was the questions you were asking. So when I went to do this ebook originally, it was going to be a compilation and I was going to update a lot of the recipes and just keep it like as part of like our pantry collection. But then I looked at all of the recipes that I've done and I thought I really needed to add some new ones because we've had a lot of requests over the years and I can't fill a printed cookbook just with chicken recipes. I know some people would love that, but I like to have a variety in there because, of course, if you're going to do a printed book, you want to appeal to more people. You know, because if you don't like chicken, well, then you're not going to buy the book, right? Although people will buy the ebook because, let's just say, for instance, every recipe in his vegetarian. So it has a has a vegetarian alternative. So some people will buy that because they know how to convert chicken recipes themselves anyway, but then they're also given options in there for some great ideas. And when I put those ideas in there, we do test in our hard copy books. Every recipe is tested in every option that we give. In the ebooks, I give suggestions, but they're based on foods that I've eaten over the years, recipes that I know work, and that as well. Let's just say, like, if we're going to do buffalo wings, which is not in the book, we all know that buffalo wings you can substitute cauliflower florets, right? So that's an easy one. It's just adjusting cooking times and stuff like that. So where I can, I do try and always add to vary the cooking time if it's needed. Or in, say, that instance, if I was doing a buffalo one and it needed a better way of then just dipping into the egg and then into a crumb mixture to coat, that I would give you those details. But yeah, we do try and just do different recipes. But yeah, the chicken one did take a mind of its own. It was supposed to be something I was going to just do in a week. And I think I spent just 2 weeks alone writing recipes. So, and you got to remember, when I write a recipe for the oven. I write the list of ingredients, but then I write the method for an oven, an air fryer, where it can be, and the thermi. So it's not a quick process. Like the testers know, like some days there was no recipes, some days there was one, some days there might be 4. It really depended on what I have tested before, what kind of recipes in a similar vein I might have done before. Let's just say like a crumb chicken. So, you know, and it's even like where they might question something when like the development team are going through the recipes and it's like, oh, look, it's based on that, you know, like it's in those times for a thermal cook, because that's where we have to do more testing to check things out. Like a sauce for me to get, because I, first and foremost, is always a conventional cook in how I think, but I use this thing now more than I ever dreamed I would. As you can see, I've got 2 of them, and I have an amazing Magi mix, which I'm also going to be doing a steaming class with that as well, because at the moment the Magi mix has, you can get a free XXL steamer with that, so I'm going to show you how to use it. But yeah, there is so many great kitchen appliances that you can have these days that we could all have like a whole house full of kitchen if we were foodies like me. But yeah, it is a long process to create these recipes. But yeah, the chicken one, it was really interesting, and I probably will do another one, not chicken, but another one with either beef or, you know, beef, lamb, pork all together in one. Chicken is obviously one of the most popular, all the most popular meals tend to be chicken based. So I'm just going to get a spoon because this is just finished, right? So that was 16 minutes in the thermi. Now, if you were putting this on a stovetop, it wouldn't take anywhere near that. We did have somebody that's tested it and said theirs was thin. So anything with a stove, you just adjust your temperature. So I would turn my temp up and simmer until it starts to reduce. Use your whisk and just keep whisking until it thickens up, and turn that temperature up. So you can see like this is what it's like before I blend it, right? So if you're cooking it on the stove, that's the kind of consistency you're going to get. Now, remembering we only use 1/4 teaspoon of xanthan gum in this, and this has like got over 2 cups of liquid in it, okay? Now that we've cooked the onions down, probably 3 cups of liquid in there. So it's got a lot of liquid, although there's been a little bit of steaming coming out, but I had the lid on, okay? So normally you would add a whole tablespoon of corn flour or something like that to thicken up a gravy, right? Because this is essentially a curry gravy. So we're using only 1/4 teaspoon. So it's not a gummy paste or anything like that. So for those of you who absolutely hate xanthan gum, it's fine in this sauce. You won't taste it, but you can try glucosamine. You can use glucosamine powder. You can't try it. Like you can use it because it's I think a superior product. And you can use the tapioca or arrowroot to thicken if you wish. The other way to thicken a curry is to use vegetables. So it would increase the carbs, but the net carbs in this is only 5 grams of carbs. If you're eating a few carrots or some cauliflower and that, putting it in there, and like if that was cooked in there and then you blitzed it, as you can imagine, it makes it a thicker sauce. So we do that with soups and stews. We can do that with curries and that as well. So what I'm going to do now is I'm just going to mix that one to puree the onion more, because like before we mixed it, that was mainly just to chop the onion. Now I want to puree it a little bit. Now I can have a look at this. If I wanted this more pureed, puree it more. Do you, okay? But you'll see. I do have a little spatula just here. You'll see in a second because I got it facing the other way, so you just can't see squat. But that's my style, hey? The big reveal. So you can see that is still chunky but thick. Now, if I was to leave this, it will thicken even more. Of course, any sauce thickens. Think about a gravy. If you make a gravy in a jug and you made it 20 minutes, let's just say 20 minutes, before you're going to serve it, probably by the time 20 minutes is up, you could probably turn it upside down, you'd have like an aspic, right? Like a carvable gravy. So, yeah, this will thicken even more, but look at that, I've got a little saucy thing here. But you can see it is a gravy right now. If you don't like the chunky bits, let me put this back in and we'll show you. Oh, we got a little bit of gravy running down the front. That's always attractive, isn't it? Oopsie. So So what do? Just whack it back in here, and I'll show you what it looks like for. I just turn the speed up, and that chops it even more. That'll do. So for those cooking it on the stove, you'd cook it until it had that, it's still like a little bit runny, but it's chunky, right? And the onion's all nice and soft. You put a little bit in your mouth, taste it, everything tastes good, right? Pop it into a blender or food processor, blend it, however you prefer, whether you want a little bit of chunk through it, or you want it like into a smooth sauce, then put it back into the pan and cook it more if you wish, okay? So now I'm just going to show you. We'll just put it in this jug because it just had water in it anyway. So you can see it's still got body, but it's a nice thick sauce, okay? So I did say in the book, we're going to be doing a lot more with our keto cubes, okay? So keto cubes, for me, catchy little thing, catchy little name, right? It's just using these kind of silicone molds. And what you do is, you could tablespoon this in. I know I measured it out the other day, 4 tablespoons per cube. So a quarter cup. So if you're looking at any of my recipes that have a sauce, and you wanted to make that sauce in bulk, or let's even just say curry chicken, you always have that extra sauce. You might want to do the katsu breasts just like this and serve it with a butter chicken gravy rather than a katsu gravy. Get it? All you'd have to do is take out a couple of these out of the freezer. So I would put that in the freezer. You saw I had them in the Ziploc bag. That's a tomato-based one. But I would freeze this, so it's then individually quick frozen, IQF, and then I would put it in a Ziploc bag. I could write on there that it's a katsu gravy made on the 4th of June, 2022. Wow, time has flown. And I could write on there, each cube quarter cup serves 2, or the katsu gravy, that's going to be like, 1 serve, or depends on how much you like. You might take 2 serves, but you know, if you've had the dish as well, how many you would like to have as a serve, because realistically this whole thing is to serve 4. So we've got a jug full here, we've got 4 cubes there, so it'd probably be 2 cubes per person per serve from there. But you could do this, let's just say you want to do a quick prawn curry, so you could just like quickly throw a couple of these into a saucepan, heat them up, throw in your prawns. Once they've turned opaque, take them out. If they're a cooked prawn, throw them in. As soon as they're heated through, off they come. Or you could saute some onions and carrot and celery. I'm struggling to say celery there. And then add the cubes once they've softened, and add your prawns once everything's nice and heated through, and then you've got a curry prawn, curry chicken, curry beef, curry lamb, all that sort of thing. So it's just trying to make things really easy, and it's a great way to reserve the leftovers. So let's just say you might want to go, okay, well, I really like the chicken like this, but I want to do the other half tomorrow with a salad and some ranch dressing or green goddess dressing, right? So freeze the rest of your katsu and use that for another dish. But you can write on those Ziploc bags what they are. You can also put them into the vacuum sealed bags. Another great thing. It's not over there anymore. I've moved it out to there. Sorry, I've got stuff everywhere. Sous vide. So you could actually do it in the vacuum sealed bags, pop it in the sous vide. You can sous vide in your thermal mixers and that as well too. Just put in your water, set it to your sous vide temperature that you want, and then put your bag in there with your blade cover or a slow reverse speed. It'll still be fine, I'm sure. And heat up your sauce in there. So great ideas to make easy meals. They could also be added in a cube into a oven bag or into your foil pouches and cooked in the oven. So let's just say we want to do an oven baked fish with the katsu sauce. Pop in your cubes, do your foil pouch into the oven. Usual bake time for your fish, check and see that your fish is ready. Just like, you know, open it up a little bit. Make sure you stay away from the steam. Check it. And then you'll have like this beautiful meal all in one, because that could just be a simple piece of fish or chicken. Like you could do the chicken without a crumb into a pouch with the sauce into there. Already have them in pouches in your freezer and straight from freezer to oven or freezer to microwave, depends on however you want to cook, freezer to steamer. Lots of great ideas on how to save time, which for me is the most important. Save time, save money, and, you know, and really stretch these sauces out. So when you're making that, you could have easily doubled that recipe and go, okay, well, I'll make some for tonight and then I'll make another batch that'll be for the next time. So I only have to do it once. It takes no extra time to cook it, because even with that, it would still be the same cooking times. And if you wanted it thicker, you can cook it longer. That's all you've got to do, is just make sure you just, with anything with a thermal mixer, I always just make sure if I'm cooking a sauce, scrape the bottom with a spatula at halfway cooking time, if I'm going to extend the cooking time. Okay, so let's just see. You can do this on the stovetop, I assume, Robin. Yes, and the instructions are there for a conventional method. So as I was saying throughout it, if you were doing it on the stovetop, you just do it in a saucepan. Do it with your little whisk for the sauce. And then use a food processor if you want to blend the sauce. You can still do it nice and chunky. You'll just have to reduce the sauce down a little bit further, or you can thicken it up a little bit more with either some more vegetables or some more thickener. I wouldn't recommend adding more xanthan gum. If anything, if you wanted to thicken it that little bit extra, add half a tablespoon of arrowroot flour with the half a teaspoon of xanthan gum. And then you'll add a little bit more extra carbs with the arrowroot or tapioca, because either of those could be used, but they are both a resistant starch, so they shouldn't add too much to your absorbed carbs. Just eating my leftover Katsu chicken. Aha, Lynn. So I hope that you watched it tonight and you may have seen a couple of little things of like what mine's like. Now what I'll do is I'll just quickly serve up one of these. So let's cut up some chicken, and then I'll have a quick look and see if I can get one of those cookies out too, right? That would be pretty cool. So what I did to make it look pretty when I went to serve it, I'm just going to shift this over to the side. I don't even know where this camera actually points, but anyway. We'll go with this. Okay, so we've got a little plate here. So what I did is, instead of just sticking, you know, it plopped on a plate and then pouring the sauce all over it, I put some under. So you can just spread it out. Make it a little bit wider in one spot than the chicken will be, so you can see it seeping out, so it looks pretty. Now if you were doing it with rice, you could do a yin-yang kind of thing. Yeah, rice on this side, your sauce on that side, chicken on the top, and a little bit of extra sauce over the top. So you can see, I hope you can see. Yeah, so that looks good. So when I serve, I would flip that one over if I wanted to have it at the front, but if I'm going to do this as food photography, I'm going to do this in reverse. I'm going to do it. Oh, ta-da! Now, I know I just put these in the cubes, but just if there's any chance you can see the difference from that far, I will do the smooth sauce over the top. But what I would also do is I might pop a little extra bowl here. You could have like, I haven't done any. You could have some extra greens here on the side, chili flakes, whatever you might want to serve it with, fresh coriander leaves, and some extra sauce on the side. I didn't cost out these recipes, but like, look, chicken's $10 a kilo. That bag I just had today only had 2 breasts in it. I didn't look at how many kilos it was. Oh, I can read it from here. Be good if I could read. 700 grams. So all that chicken, so this 2 breasts and that huge bag that I put back in there, which is probably half of it, was 700 grams. So there's still like, you know, more than enough, obviously, here for 4. We did say it was 500 grams, but that's serving it with rice or something like that as well too. So not as in that's in the weight, but if you were serving it with more, you would have more of a meal. But anyway, I hope that you love that one. So that one's a nice one. Chicken was cooked perfect. And yeah, I mean, to be honest, I cannot tell the difference between either of them to look at. So for those of you, if you've only just tuned in, we did the 2 chicken breasts in the air fryer. We did one with golden flax meal and parmesan, which I would normally add a seasoning to that for sure. Like I would, it seems weird, but I do Italian with a curry. But you could put a little bit of the Bubba's meat curry powder, my Malaysian meat curry powder. Well, we shouldn't say Bubba's because it's mine. I put a bit of the Malaysian meat curry powder, or you could even marinate the chicken before if you wanted to. And then put the crumb on it. And we also did some just with the pork rinds. And I did mention that as somebody who doesn't, like honestly, I gag even when I smell them now. I love pork, but I just can't do the pork rinds. And I did not like the smell even when I blended them, but I will eat that. Like I like that a lot. So it doesn't taste porky, it doesn't taste like pork rinds, and it doesn't smell like pork rinds once it's cooked. Okay, so let's have a look and see. My tray's cold. Oh. Ta-da. Oh, okay. We're going to do a little dessert as well. So, let's just do a quick magic shell. Megan's quick microwave magic shell. Do you want to know what it is? Okay, let's just do, they're a little amount, so we're going to make extra, but I tell you what I do with this is when I make it, it just stays in the cup, so you can just reheat it later if you want, okay? So I just put it in like about half a teaspoon of MCT oil. You can use any neutral tasting oil. Don't use extra virgin olive oil, but if you've got light tasting neutral olive oil, you can use that coconut oil, add a little bit of coconut oil flavour to it. I just added 2 rows of the Vitawex chocolate. Again, you can use any chocolate, just be wary. Some of them don't microwave very well. I'm gonna try that on a minute 15 for that amount of chocolate. And then, I'm gonna just pop that schnitzel into a bag. Pop it away. Who likes a little dessert? I do. Sometimes I like it as my only meal. That's a bad thing to say, I know. Okay, let's pop you over there. Over there. It's got these little cups. So as you can see, like in a good quality pan. The reason I did not spray this pan, it is like it's not new, but it's like a new pan. So they were really easy to come out. And like I said, these will continue, even though you can hear they're not soft, right? They're crispy cookies. Bring a pretty plate for this one too. None there. Okay, we're just going to put it on a black and white plate. Oh, hang on, we could do it on that. I'll steal this one. Oh, no, it didn't even get any sauce on it. That's awesome. I'm going to pick... I'll pick the worst one. I should pick the worst one. Okay. So all I'm doing now is I'm just making a quick, you call those old ones, Ice Magic, coconut magic, like coconut, Ice Magic, but just with chocolate and MCT oil. Very, very easy to make. So I just microwave that for, what did I say, 45 seconds, or 115? No, 45 seconds I think I did. Normally for an extra row for like a whole like ice cream serve, I would microwave it in my microwave, which is 750 watts when I cook it that way. It takes 1 minute 45. I've done it a few times. But yeah, just test your microwave. Always just do it in bursts. I just prefer, whenever you take it out, you'll see like when you're working with chocolate and oils or creams, it'll be lumpy, but just stir. And if you stir, sometimes I'll be stirring here, like we have a break in TV or something, like I'm stirring forever. But it might take a minute to stir it, but it tempers the chocolate really nicely too. So the tempering is actually bringing the temperature down and making it nice and glossy again. Okay, so I think that'll be fine. I'll just grab my ice cream out of the freezer. Hopefully 6,000 things don't fall on me. Yep. Oh, it was that chicken. Instead of putting it in the fridge, I put it in the freezer. Who knew? Okay, so this is a batch of my ice cream. I will be putting a general basic ice cream on the website soon. It will be a protein ice cream, but you don't need to put the protein powder in it. But if you look at my chocolate one, it's pretty much the same recipe. I really like a nicer spoon in that, but anyway. I need a smaller one than that. Use that one. So, anyone that says my ice cream is hard. So this one's a mint ice cream. I want you to curl. Come on. Should be warm. Yeah, we're not going to get a better one. It worked perfect the first time, right? We'll just go with that. So I'm going to pop that onto there. And just a little bit of the chocolate. That'll set, and it'll just be a nice little dessert. So you can do 3 or 4 if you need. I just wonder where the hell I put my lid. Oh, there it is there. So to make perfect ice cream, and that as well too, just follow the chocolate instructions that are on the website one. You can leave the chocolate out and flavour it any which way. That one is actually done with peppermint oil. But I make different ones all the time. Peppermint oil and collagen. I always use collagen or protein in my ice creams, and it makes it super soft. And don't miss out the gelatin. And no, it doesn't need to be bloomed before it goes in. You just chuck it all in the saucepan or all in your thermi. But how easy was that? So nice little one. I'll get a knife and I'll just show you what it looks like inside. That's that chocolate. Chocolate has set. Just give me something I can cut it on. Let's cut it on a larger plate. Hopefully we don't crumble to death. The joys of doing things live for the first time, right? See? It looks perfect, doesn't it? So there's a nice little dessert. You could have put like, the options here are endless. If you had some custard, some jam, so like Natvia jam, which I love, the raspberry one is amazing. Little blob of that in the bottom of it, not with mint ice cream, but with vanilla or chocolate. Some coconut cream even mixed with some toasted coconut or something like that. And you could have these like beautiful little filled, easy to make ice cream cup cones without having to make the cones. Like you can make cones, but you really do need to have a cone maker, or need to have a fashion one out of a piece of foil to make a cone out of, to make a waffle cone, keto or not. So while I can give you a recipe for those, I just find that, getting the little ice cream waffle maker and then rolling them, and that might be too tricky for everyone. But I thought that if this worked, which it has, and I just did it for my first time live, I thought that everyone would appreciate that. Now, I would do this with my normal almond flour cookies recipe, maybe with some choc chips, because choc chips make everything better, right? Of course, sugar-free choc chips. And then any ice cream, remember, you could put anything down the bottom here. You could put a little bit of the chocolate ganache. You could even put a little bit of that chocolate in here first, then put it on the top, because it wasn't a cornetto or a drumstick always better when there was chocolate in the bottom. A little bit of, that's an idea. You could do s'mores ones. You could put a sugar-free marshmallow in here when it's at that last baking stage, or you could just pop that into the microwave for like 5 seconds and it'll blow up, and then pop your ice cream on top. Oh, and chocolate sauce. So anyway, we've made katsu curry from our, let me get it, amazing new cookbook, or ebook, called Chicken Dinners. And I hope you all loved it. I hope you love it. And if you've got any questions regarding that recipe, if you've seen it live, you can come back. I think I've given you a lot of information and different ways to make it. I won't use that spoon, but we can see again, this is a nice thick sauce, nice thick curry sauce that you can use for lots of different recipes. We've given you some great crumbing options and talked about even more, and how to cook them, various ways of cooking them. because in my previous recipes, I don't think any of my recipes had any crumbing cooked in an air fryer. I don't even know if I've ever cooked live for you with an air fryer. And we made our lovely little cookie cups from the frozen cookie dough that I've had in the freezer probably for the last 6 months. It could even be longer, but that's been in the freezer. And I've got 6 of them now, so Dave and I have got sorted. Like I said, you make the easy chocolate magic ice thing, like what's ice magic? Chocolate shell. Really, really simple, 2 ingredients, any kind of chocolate, any neutral flavoured oil that you prefer. Pour it over the top. Yes, I have a really fancy, amazing fudge in our Healthy Family, which is over there, which has a lot more ingredients. It's made with cream and a syrup and everything like that, which is incredible, by the way, that sauce. But this is a really easy one, and you can do it with, like, if your Vitawex is on special at the supermarket, get some, try it. You could make that into a slice. You could do these into, you know, full cookie base, bake it. You could do it as an ice cream cake. You could do it so many different ways. Anyway, let's have a quick look at questions and then I'll let you go, because then I'm going to kick back and relax after I clean up the kitchen, which is a big mess. Okay, let's have it. Raspberry Natvia is my favourite. How good is it, Nicole? Like, honestly, I have said it a few times before. If I do use it in recipes, you'll see mine is always redder. I do add a little drop of colouring into mine because it does, like, need the pop for pictures. But flavour-wise, that stuff is, like, insane. It's so good straight out of the jar. And it's even like what I used in the Monte Carlo cookies, which are on our website. And when you bake that on that little bit to make it that extra jammy, sticky bit, oh God, that's so good. That would work so well in these, like in the bottom of that. And like I just said with the marshmallow, even like cooking it that little bit longer, or using a butane torch to caramelise it that little bit further. It's such a good jam. And it's good that's in the supermarket. Don't you find those little bits of the chicken fall off into your mouth? They would if I wasn't on live, Susan, for sure. But yeah, like when I think even in the picture of the katsu, I think I actually just stuck the chicken end behind. So again, it's like sometimes it's just that little bit of preparation that you do for a dish that can make it look so much better. So yeah, you can see I didn't have the end here. I had it up there, so I flipped it over and put it at the back. So there's actually like 2 there at the back. So you can see that nice bit of white meat coming through. So like I could just fan that out a little bit further, push that out to there, pull that out to there. So you know, and you can do it thinner if you wish, however you wish to serve it. But it's nice when you just take something as simple as like a crumb chicken breast and make it look a little bit nicer on the plate. This would work, that chicken breast would work with so many of our different sauces and sauces that are in that book as well. Can you imagine it with a boschiella sauce? Yes. Creamy bacon and mushroom. That sounds good. I think I've got some of that creamy bacon and mushroom still in the fridge. Okay, so I'll move this over to here. I might put my little ice cream plate just in the freezer so it doesn't melt everywhere. Okay. I've watched tonight. I think I just needed to cook the sauce a little bit longer and make it thicker. So yes, Lynn, anything that's on the stove, always try and use a pan that's not too small, but just simmer it down till it gets any thickness. So all of my recipes always will say cook until it's thick. So if it takes 10 minutes, if it takes 20 minutes, you just cook it till it's thick. It will happen. The recipes are tested in both ways, okay? So, but yeah, a sauce traditionally is cooked on an open flame or on a stovetop, so it is a lot easier. But yeah, the larger the base, the cooking base, the surface, the more the heat will come through and help bubble it down. So just turn your heat up a little bit or just cook it a little bit longer. Yummo. Don't you love it when a plan comes together? Is he talking about the cookie cups? Yeah, I like that. I think that's really cool. I mean, I'd already seen the testers were already enjoying them. I think I'd said a couple of different ways that we could do different things with them, but they could be done. We've also done it with the chopped chip cookie recipe as well. So the other one that's on the website with the gelatin, which is also similar to like our Monte Carlo ones. So you could actually do the Monte Carlo cookies as a cup with the jam inside, do the buttercream piped on the top That would be really pretty as well. And of course, like the cookies would be white. So these ones, remember, these have got cacao, so they're brown. They're not burnt. They just didn't look pretty. I was trying to do a chocolate cookie. I will get to a chocolate cookie for you, but I didn't like that one. It just didn't look pretty. So I want your cookies to look good as well. Sounds like my freezer. So you love, yeah, and I've got a freezer there and a freezer there. But yeah, it's just crazy. And obviously we've just made a ton of chicken dinners, and Dave was, you know, what can I have an egg fast while I'm trying to cook chicken? My ice cream is always rock hard. Sue, do you make my recipe? If you do, are you using the gelatin and collagen? Are you using xylitol? They're the three things that make the big difference. And if you ever make my ice cream, and because I'm guilty of this, sometimes I don't blitz it, like I'll just eat it out of the freezer because it's quite soft. But I can tell you now, you just saw that, when you blend it, it turns it into something else. It's like soft serve. It's still like freezers. And like I'd still take it out. When I take it out of the freezer to serve, generally speaking, I might take it out 10 minutes before. But yeah, it's just that extra bit of blending, breaking the ice crystals and stuff. Not that there's as many because we're not using milk. But yeah, it's so good. Thanks, Megan. This was really great. And so many tips. You need xylitol for your ice cream. Yes. Xylitol or allulose. If you're getting allulose, look out for the ones that have a blend. I did test some recipes with a blend of allulose that they'd put erythritol in. I'm like, well, that's stupid because one crystallizes, one doesn't crystallize. You know, yeah, hard. Lemon curd. Yeah, lemon curd in the bottom of those would be amazing. Meringue. So if you've got leftover egg whites from your egg fast, little mini lemon meringue tart. Little caramel tart. Oh, now we're talking. You could put the caramel in there, or your little, like in my cookies book, the Jaffa cakes. You could do your little orange caramel inside there. You could even still do like a meringue on top and then coat it in chocolate. You could dip the whole thing in chocolate if you wanted to. Love the new book. Thanks. Okay, thanks. Just got the ebook. Can't wait to start cooking. So going to make the cookie cups with ice cream. Yeah, well, I just thought it'd be a fun thing to do, like in the middle of cooking those two things, because we had one on for 20 minutes, one on for 16 minutes. So I just wanted to make sure there was something other than me jabbering on, even though I jabber while I'm still doing stuff. Ice magic, yes, I'm a struggler. Love watching you all the way from Iceland. I love that you tune in. It was really interesting even yesterday looking at all the countries that come in and buy our books. Now, I mean, that sounds a terrible thing to say because I hate talking about people buying our stuff, but we had 17 different countries yesterday, which was just incredible. And the only reason I looked is because I was talking to somebody about ebooks, and it's, I wondered even for myself if it's just more that we have a 50% Australia general population, not 50% of Australia, but the most amount of our followers is Australian, and that's 50% of our followers tend to be Australian. And that's what I'm talking about. When I say followers, I just mean like people that are going through to the website and actually using our recipes. So when I see that we had 17 different countries, I'm like, yes, that's so cool. And some of the countries just blow me away. I'm like, oh my God. But we do try and make the recipes transfer in the way, or translate in the way that everybody can use them everywhere. I think chicken dinners is one that definitely will. If you can get chicken or any white meat, you can make anything in there. It's just general ingredients, and the ones that might be like, I use the coconut aminos today. In the book it actually says you can use soy sauce. I think soy sauce is probably in every single country. There is a lot of gluten-free ones these days. You can use tamari. You can leave it out if you wanted to. Use a Worcestershire. It's got a higher sugar content, but you know, there's all different ones that you can use. Thanks, Megan. That's great. I love the eggshell tip. Yeah, that's like, because I know, Jenny, you're part of the testing team now. We did put it in there, but I didn't even say what I do, but that is my basic one. And you can still see it is still beautiful. But that's what I use. And like, if you were doing like a truffle or something like that, you just dip it in, take it out, put it on your paper, chuck it in the freezer, come back out, dip it again. Like, you can do those in nice little ways. But that's how I also did all the Easter eggs and stuff that we did earlier in the year. And the little bit of MCT just helps it not be hard for anyone that might ask that question. Where do you buy your flavoured oils online? Okay, so flavoured oils, the one for the ice cream that I use, the peppermint, that's just the Queen's peppermint. I can say that I honestly prefer doTERRA peppermint oil in there. With oils, I am always reluctant to say anything because a lot of them say yes and no to whether they're safe for ingesting. So extracts are always good. So things like licorice and stuff like that, I can buy locally, either at, I've asked Elite to get it, but they don't have it, at my local, what's it called? There's a fruit market at Newcastle anyway. I can get it from them. But online, I always look at possibly just Elite. There's another place that I've bought things from called Universal Flavors. So I bought recent ones because I make for us ourselves. I won't be releasing the recipes because these ones are have more ingredients in it that could be a risk to other people. But I make my own energy drink electrolytes, so they're kind of a combo. And I bought a heap of flavors from Universal Flavors. So they have like everything from energy drink flavour. There's one actually called energy drink flavour, to your licorice, to your malt, to your molasses, to hard candy, to apple, fairy floss, all different ones. Other great places are Cake Warehouse. There's Cake Warehouse and Caker's Paradise. I bought tons of stuff from both of those. They have Loran oils, but the ones, I can't even think of what the ones are that I buy. If you go on there, you'll see them, and I get like the Colour Mill colours and stuff like that as well too. But yeah, I buy a lot just because like I make a lot of different things ourselves. So I'll like make, you know, a flavoured gummy with like a broth or collagen and that with that. And I'm also going to be testing some collagen and protein ice blocks and stuff like that. So yeah, the flavours are awesome, but yeah. I don't really say anywhere because I don't want anyone going, oh, I had this and I got sick and that. So it's totally up to you with what you put in there. I'm fine with oils and raw eggs or whatever in my diet. But yeah, it's up to the individual as to what you use. Sorry, I am just getting that growing and shrinking. Okay, let's just get these last few questions. So if you've got a question, just pop it on because I'll round it up. I don't think we could get allulose in Australia. So no, you can't. If people are selling in Australia, they're selling it illegally because it's not actually an approved product to sell in Australia, but you can import it. So I get mine from iHerb. There's quite a lot of different ones that are in iHerb. I'm looking at 2 packets of Madava over there because I've been experimenting with our honeycomb. So, which can't be made with any other sweeteners. It's the only one that I've had that does work. I've just got to get it to a way that I can write it that you guys can all have the desired outcome, that it doesn't burn, that you're not overcooking it, that you're not misinterpreting the way a sugar temperature should be used in a allulose temperature because they're totally like they're poles apart. But yeah. So you can order it through iHerb. There is another place in New Zealand that I'd order it from. There's probably plenty of places in New Zealand now that have it. Which I just thought it's really funny because the food approval thing is Australia and New Zealand. But anyway, they have it. But yeah, iHerb, and it's cheap. Like cheap as far as sweeteners go for keto. Yep. So. Thanks, Kristen. So yeah, it is an iHerb. So there's quite a few different ones, and they've all worked fine for us. For the ice cream, I actually use, is it Xylo Sweet? I don't know what it is. Yeah, there it is. Xylo Sweet, xylitol. So, and I would only recommend, like I do use it, and where we practice very safe practice with our ice cream because we know it's not safe for Stormy because obviously we've got a dog, but you know, neither's chocolate. So if you have chocolate in your house, same thing. So when I use make ice cream or whatever, yeah, we eat it we put away the bowls, we don't leave anything out, we don't drop anything on the floor, we don't have kids. So if you have kids or anything like that, or anyone that might actually take the ice cream and you have dogs and you're concerned, don't use xylitol at all. I wouldn't if I had that concern. I love your cookbooks due to lovely flavour of the food, but also because of the various ways of cooking and ideas added. Works well for us here. Oh, thanks, Edda. Yeah. So I do try and put in a few variations, and obviously not everyone has a Thermomix, and while I am a consultant, I'm not really hard selling them. I just put it in there because obviously we have people asking me all the time, so I did join up with them. But having the two different methods, it just stretches it out for anyone, because like there's people that will actually have a Thermomix and they'll prefer to cook it on the stove, or they're camping and they're going to cook it on the camp stove, etc. So yeah, we do want to have recipes that appeal to a wider market as much as possible, and thermal cookers are growing in popularity globally, whether it's one brand or another. Like I say, we have like the methods that I put in there, I tested everyone that's in it, not everyone that's in our test team, but the majority of our test team actually do have the Thermomix brand. I have the Thermomix brand, and I have the Magimix, and previously I also had the original multi-cooker of KitchenAid, and Linda had the KitchenAid cook processor. So we've tested on a few different ones. We've tested in Bellinis and Intellis and Nobles, and there's quite a few different ones. I don't know all of their names, but yeah, we just try and give as many methods. All of our temperatures for our ovens are always in Celsius. Now, the new book, you'll see when I've given a Fahrenheit recipe, I'm also taking into account that it's a fan forced Celsius temperature. And I will, continue in our cookbooks as well to always have the conversion chart. So for those of you who haven't seen before, for our cookbooks, we put the conversion chart in the back, so that you can actually see that we actually do use fan forced oven, and it has the conversions there for the Celsius fan forced, the Celsius conventional oven. So if you've got to convert it back to a conventional, and your Fahrenheit and your gas mark, etc. My oven can do both, but I'm pretty sure that majority of people in Australia and a lot globally now use fan. What can you use instead of xylitol if you have kids and dogs? So that would be allulose for ice cream. You can still use erythritol, but if you use an erythritol or like monk fruit, all the monk fruit flavors, monk fruit sweeteners you buy tend to be, into an erythritol anyway. They will set hard, so a lot harder. So the ice cream will be a bit like a cricket bat when you take it out. It still will turn creamy when it softens a little bit, but the erythritol does set rock hard. So I would just use the allulose. So order it in from iHerb if you want to give that a try, or just skip it. Or you could do the erythritol, just do smaller portions and just make it and eat it within an hour or two. Because like when it's soft and it's first made, like I'm talking about after you've blitzed it. So I would, you could even do it in those cubes, say for instance, or smaller cubes, throw them into any kind of mixer, like a food processor of any kind, and just blitz it. There is those ones that are in the jars and all that sort of stuff, but I'm sorry, I don't like any of the quick ones. We have two other recipes on the website. There's a creme fraiche ice cream, which is actually really zingy and zesty, and it will still set a little bit firm, but not like erythritol, even though it's got like the different sweeteners in it, just because of the fat content of the creme fraiche. The mascarpone. No, it's creme fraiche, but you could use either really. And then we also have the macadamia milk one, but I think I still said in that one xylitol. So I have made that with erythritol as well, but you just got to get it out a little bit earlier. Or like I said, just blitz it. So when you get it out, leave it out for 10 minutes, or put it into an ice cube tray, put it into a Ziploc bag, work out how many of your ice cube tray makes one serve for you. Or you could even work out via the recipe, if it says serves 10 and it makes 100 ice cubes, you just all get 10 pellets, 10 cubes, chuck it into a blender when you're ready to serve and have a nice soft serve ice cream. That's probably a great way of serving it. It's probably a great way to actually recommend putting it into. I think that's done. Okay, thanks for another wonderful live. Also, I must remember to buy you a coffee or two. Thanks, Eileen. And actually, it's time for me to go because I'm gonna have a coffee. But thanks everyone that joined in. I hope you're loving the book, loving the recipes. Remember, we do, if you don't, well, not remember, but if you didn't know, on our Facebook group, we do have a link of who cooked it first. Just post onto the group pictures of your katsu curry or whatever. Everyone that posts will go into the draw. We're going to have one lucky winner join our recipe development team. I will have to work out when I'm going to draw that. I think we'll do it in a week because we said who cooked it first within the week. But if you see that the recipes are filling up with people, try and pick ones that are actually not already made so that we get right through the whole book and make sure that they all work. Or if anyone has any problem with any of them, like we had with the katsu sauce, we had somebody, we had Lynn who had the issue of like hers was just needed a little extra cooking time on the stove. I'm happy to jump online and show you how to make these recipes. As for my picks for the top recipes in the book, surprisingly, a risotto. I absolutely really would never order risotto. I would not normally make a risotto. I know a lot of people like risotto. It's not for me. I loved it. The fried rice even, I loved it. And the 2 cauliflower dishes, so good. Bosciola chicken was amazing. And the stir fries, any of the stir fries were great. The lemon chicken, the chop suey, the chicken and cashew, I think, had raving fans all over our testing team. But yeah, some really good recipes in there. And of course, like the butter chicken. Our butter chicken is one of those recipes, like I know a lot of people have their favorite butter chickens by other people or whatever. If you haven't tried mine, try it. We have a lot of people that just have loved other ones in the past. They've made it and they've just like gone, holy yeah, shit. It's really good. Buy the ingredients before you try it. Go to your local Indian market, buy fenugreek leaves, make it the way it should be, and you'll be a very happy camper. But anyway, gonna go. Thanks for tuning in, and I will be live again in a couple of weeks with something new or even a surprise one in between. Okay, thanks, and have a good night. And I'm gonna come around and turn it off, and hopefully it'll all work properly. Good night.